Good morning, I'm Steve and welcome to Green Side Up. A garden is never complete, you can never finish it. By the time you get to one end of it and you think you're finished, you need work at the start of it again. Therefore, gardeners are reactionary people, to my belief, and you've got to react to the situation that you're into. So, for me, right now, I've got all my no-dig beds down here. They're all full. Things are all growing in them, and in my tunnels as well. But you know, in a month or two's time, a lot of that stuff will be coming out the ground, and bare spaces behind. So, you've got to carry on sowing. So today, I'm sowing the first of two sowings, I think, a load of brassicas that will be going outside for overwintering, and towards the end of July I'll sow some more for overwintering again that will go in the polytunnel. Now that's just brassicas basically. There's plenty of other stuff to be sown. I've sown a couple of rows of parsley this morning in the little polytunnel as well, two different types, because I freeze an enormous amount of it. There's nothing better than in the depths of winter when everything's so bleak and not very nice and cold outside, a nice warming stew with, you know, chopped parsley on the top. It's vibrant, it's green, it's nice, and it tastes fresh and it's brilliant. So it's these sorts of things that we carry on and continue with. You've got to continually think ahead. Think a couple of months ahead, 6 months ahead, a year ahead. What are you going to do? How are you going to do things? So, as I said, a garden's never complete and gardeners are reactionary. What with lockdown this year, many people furloughed off work. A lot of people have gone out into the gardens and started gardening because that's basically their confines of their space. Consequently, many of the seed companies have basically run out, or they've become short of staff and couldn't operate and had to close down. So I couldn't get any peas early season, so I finally managed to get hold of some, and I'm going to sow some today. And I've got two types here. I've got Waverex, which is a Petit Pois Pea, now I've soaked these overnight just in this container here, a little bit of water just to loosen the shell on the outside. What happens is when you sow your seeds, if you sowed them in here dry and you watered this drain pipe and walked away from it, over a couple of days before the peas germinate, they would start to absorb the water from the compost, and that takes, you know, a good few days. So by soaking them over the night, you're just speeding that process up. You don't want to do it any more than overnight, really. They start going musty and horrible. You can tell here there's still some firmness to them. They've just had their outer seed case softened. Now in here in the polytunnel, in this warm confines, these should germinate fairly quickly now. I would say within a week, 10 days, maybe even sooner. This second one is Oregon Sugar Pod. This is a Mange 2P, one of our favourites. And to be honest with you, I don't normally grow peas for pudding, just because there's a lot of faff just for basically what you get from them. There's a lot of messing around with podding them and blanching them and saving them. Yeah, fresh peas are nice, but we get that from these Mange too, so we're happy with that. So yeah, just chuck them in and cover them with compost. And then I shall put them up out the way of the mice, because terrible mice problem down here at our allotment site. So I do have to be careful where I sow seeds and what I sow. There's still plenty of time for these to grow. It's only June, so. And rather than putting these outside, their growth will be speeded up because I'm going to grow them in the tunnel here, along with a few other things, which will speed their growth along. But you know, that's what your polytunnel's for, is to grow crops. It's not just for tomatoes and peppers and chilies, cucumbers. You can use it for many things, and the more things I'm using it for, the happier I am, because it means I'm getting value for money out of it. I'll try and use it all year round. So there we go, I shall just water those, and I'll go up on my hanging shelf I've got. You'll see that in a minute. And that kicked it out of the way a nice. There we go. Right, so there we go, hanging shelf, peas are on it, sowed, watered, covered up, and ready to go. No mice is getting at them unless they're ex-SAS. It's been very difficult during this lockdown period, with many workers furloughed off work and confined to barracks basically, and if they've got an outside space they've been utilising it and growing things in it. Consequently, online seed companies and suppliers have of course been inundated with requests, and things have either been out of stock, or even the seed companies themselves have been struggling with vulnerable workers laid off as well. So things have been very slow in that department. But anyway, news of one company that's back to normal. That's Premier Seeds Direct. I've mentioned it many times on my videos, and I'll mention it many times into the future because they're so blooming good. Very cheap, very quick to send things to you. I can't recommend them highly, and the seeds are always good. I always get good germination rates. Anyway, Premier Seeds Direct are back up and running, and that's why I've been able to order some seeds this last week, and hence why I've been sowing seeds today, because the seeds I couldn't really get hold of, such as my peas, my Mange too, a couple of the Brassicas that I've sown today as well. So that's good news. So get on to Premier Seeds Direct, get your seeds now while you can, if you need them. So that's just a little tip for you. Right, I'm sowing some dwarf French beans. Again, these are all going to be grown here in the polytunnel as opposed to outside. I've got climbing French beans outside, they're growing away nicely. And I've already sown, you can see, some, and that's a variety called Ferrarie. These, I've got 20 seeds here. They were a freebie with a magazine, and they're called Sonesta, and they're a yellow French beans. I thought, oh well, never tried them, have a crack. So all sown, just push them in, sort of nail to knuckle deep. And then we'll water them, cover them, water them, and put them somewhere out of the reach of the pesky little mice. They should germinate fairly quickly in here. Summer temperatures now, so. And we'll plant these out here in the polytunnel beds, as I say, along with the peas and a few other bits and bobs for cropping later in the year. So that's it, and these are actually grown in root trainers, develop the roots much better, so when they go in the soil they just bounce away, off they go. So there we go, doesn't get much simpler than that, really. Just allow a bit of soil over them to cover them up. So that's Sonesta yellow bean and a Ferrarie normal green bean. Job done. Getting on with some more seed sowing. These are mostly winter veg now. Well, these are all winter veg now. And I'm sowing in 2 batches now at the start of June, and I'll sow another batch towards the end of July, because I want plants to grow in the polytunnel, and I want plants to grow outside over winter. So this batch that I'm sowing now will be mostly for outside. Polytunnel will speed growth, as you know, over the winter, over those months of autumn and into winter. So the second batch will be going in here. That's the plan. And if you know me well enough, you know that that plan will change 6 times before I come to plant any of this out. These are a couple of kales, Red Russian and Cavalliniero. They're all brassicas that I'm sowing. These are a couple of winter cabbage now. First one, cabbage red drumhead. God, I love red cabbage. It's so good. Being an ex-chef, I know a few ways of growing things, and even better, cooking them. Red cabbage is at its best, I think, when it's either raw in a salad or like in a pita bread, that sort of a type of meal. Stir fried, just plain with a bit of olive oil and a few herbs. Or one of the best ways for a hearty winter meal is to marinade it. You get a good red wine, a bit of port, and soak it for a couple of days. You can add a few herbs and spices to it. Peppercorns is nice to add to it. And some orange zest. Even a bit of orange juice if you want, just for sweetness. And that is fantastic, really is, because it kind of pickles it before you cook it, and that's a fantastic flavour. Anyway, enough of that, I'll be drooling. This next one, standard Savoy lettuce, January King. I find this great for making things like colcan and mash. But I'll also use kale for that as well, so more spring onions. So that's it, a couple of kale, a couple of cabbage, and the next one's sprouting broccoli and cauliflower. This is the same bed, incidentally, that I planted all my brassicas in earlier in the season. Still got a few in. You can probably just see to the left of your frame there, I've got a few cauliflower left in there and some chard plants waiting to go out. 2 different types of chard there. I've got a rainbow mix, and I've also got a variety called Vulcan, which is the multiple reds. I don't know if you can see them very well there, but the sort of reds through to pinks. So that'll be going out. We're actually putting some of that in the garden at home. So that's it, 6 veg towards winter. And the first of quite a bit of stuff that will be planted for over that time. So there we go. Just remains really, give it a quick water. another job done. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Some brassicas sown, a couple of varieties of peas and some beans and some parsley and stuff, and some just general maintenance jobs that I've been running around doing, a bit of watering here, there and everywhere. If you're new to this channel, please consider to subscribe to the channel. There's a little graphic just down here now showing you how to do it. Just hit the subscribe button and then hit the little bell next to it, select notifications all. That way in the future you won't miss any of my newer videos. I've got some good stuff coming up. So that's, as I say, that's it for today. I'm going to go and pick some salad now for tea. Stay safe, look after your neighbours, and I'll see you on the next one in a couple of days. So take care everyone. Ta-ra.